I made it into the show first time I applied. It was very surreal. And also, I'm like naturally a very cautious person. Part of me is like, am I getting scammed right now? Like, if I go to LA, like, will I get kidnapped and like wake up in a bathtub with my organs missing? Hello, I'm KimChi. And today I'm going to be looking back at some of the moments that shaped my career and my identity. This is Becoming KimChi. So I was the problem child of the family, but like I never did anything bad. You know, like I never drank, smoked, or like partied or anything like that. But I was problem child in the sense that I wasn't like a traditional like Korean academic student. So it was 2012 and my best friend at the time was like, I want to try drag for fun on Halloween. Do you want to do it with me? And I was like, I've never done it before, but it sounds fun. Like, let's do it. So the first night I was like a little Minnie Mouse inspired drag. And by Minnie Mouse, it was just like an Asian woman with Minnie Mouse ears and some like red and white polka dotted like sweater. And my drag name the first night I went out was Disney Princess. And I quickly dropped it after the first time. What's next?
Yes! My name is KimChi, and I came here to destroy everyone.
I made it into the show first time I applied. It was very surreal. And also, I'm like naturally a very cautious person. Part of me is like, am I getting scammed right now? Like, if I go to LA, like, will I get kidnapped and like wake up in a bathtub with my organs missing? I think my personal favorite look that I wore is the hanbok I wore in like the book ball challenge. You know, that is like the one look, like, even if I go home first, like, I hope I get to show this look on television because I have to show a traditional Korean outfit on like a national television. I mean, to be honest, like when I went on Drag Race, my goal was never to win. My goal was just like make it far enough to be remembered. Because it doesn't matter like how great you are. Every winner gets so much hate from people saying like, so-and-so should have won. And that just kind of like follows them for like the rest of their career. Maybe the only exception is maybe Bianca Del Rio. But like everybody else, you know? And I just like didn't want to deal with that. The real race is after Drag Race and like what happens after that. And if you had a bad week, your inboxes get just like filled with like hate messages from like random people. And then if you had a great week, your like tag photos just like filled with fan art. So after I won the first episode, I got $3,000 as a prize. And I knew at the time I was talking to my mom and she was like struggling financially. So I sent her the money and I told her this money I earned through doing like makeup gigs. And then she Googled the email address like where the money was from, and then she found all this stuff about kimchi, and then she calls me up, and the first thing she asks is, how much money do you make doing this? And I told her, and she was like, keep living your dream. Because for Asian parents, you know, like financial success equates to success, and I think at the end of the day, they just want to see us like live comfortably and not struggle like the way they did. Oh, I know what's coming up! Yeah. When I first started performing, I would only purposely pick Korean pop songs. And this is before like BTS and like even American public knew about K-pop. In my own way, I was forcing my culture into the gay nightlife. So when people come to the drag show and I'm performing a K-pop song, they have no choice but to listen to the K-pop song. So the moment that inspired the song Fat Femination was on Drag Race, when I talked about how in a lot of gay dating app, a lot of people would have in their profile, no fast, no femme, no Asian. And this is before like the woke culture. And nowadays, like you don't find that like in the gay dating profile. But back then, that was just like a common thing. No spice, no rice, no fast, no femme, no Asian. And as a person who is like pretty much like all of the above, you know, you always feel like alienated and you almost don't feel like welcome in gay spaces. So then I talked about that moment in the show, and then that inspired the whole Fat Femination performance. So I was very nervous when I performed this. I'm like scared shitless the entire time. And on top of that, when we were rehearsing, the cage of the skirt kept catching into my heel, which like sunk the entire skirt like in half. The whole time I'm just wishing like, I'm like, I hope I don't step on the skirt. I hope I don't fall. I was like a nervous wreck. But then afterwards, a lot of people loved this performance, which, thank you. Thank you. And with that, let's talk about my favorite makeup line, KimChi Chic Beauty. So when I first started doing drag, at the time, there weren't that many products in the market They were super pigmented. You get a big variety and cheap at the same time. If you want to get good products, you'd have to pay so much. And I want to try as many different products as possible, but you know, on a poor drag queen's budget, like that just wasn't possible. So when I told myself, like, if I ever built a makeup company, I want to create makeup from someone who works like a 9-to-5 corporate job to like clowns can wear. I want it to be all inclusive. With drag becoming like so popular nowadays, like normalization of like makeup being unisex, you know, like makeup doesn't have gender and anyone can wear makeup. I think like that allows for like more kids to be able to like be themselves nowadays, you know, compared to like how we were. But I don't think that's just like makeup alone, but that goes for like a lot of other things. When I was in middle school, I brought like Korean food to school for lunch. And all the kids were like, ew, that's disgusting. Like, what does that smell? We call it like the lunchbox trauma. And ever since then, like I've never brought Korean food to school, like till the day I graduated. But nowadays, kids are bringing Korean food to school, and the other kids were like, "Oh, I know what that is. Like, can I have some?" And when I hear stories like that, like, it's like the world is changing for the better, little by little. And the same goes for makeup. You know, I feel like back in the 90s and even early 2000s, if you were a guy that wore like makeup day to day, you were either seen as just like really gay or you know like out there. But nowadays, if you see men with makeup, like you don't even think much of it. Next! Get that cheese pool.
Wait, what is that?
Hard-boiled egg.
Oh, okay.
So obviously I've known Trixie for a long time, and I know her eating habits very well. I know eating habits of all of my friends really well. And I knew Trixie wouldn't like most of the food I ordered for her. But, you know, I still wanted her to try it, you know? Whether you like it or not, you gotta try everything at least once to know that you don't like it for sure. Because her reaction is like so genuine when she like doesn't like something, it's extra hilarious because it's so like apparent that she genuinely from the bottom of her heart will never eat this again. And maybe I secretly enjoy torturing Trixie a little. I feel like more people have seen this video than me on Drag Race. Like, I get so many random people like coming up to me and say, "Oh, I saw your video with Trixie." And they're always referring to this particular video. I think because Trixie was on Drag Race first, a lot of fans are like, "You're just like a Trixie like copycat," but it's like not true at all. I just want to make it clear here that we are both doing the wide under eyeliner thing. And I think just working with each other, we just like, you know, like amplified each other. Trixie and I talk about to this day, like doing drag back in that day was some of the most fun we've ever had in drag. The audience just like loved whatever we were doing. There was like no preconceived notion of like drag performance has to be like this or that. We do crazy things like Celine Dion shows or a pizza themed show where every number is about pizza. Even though drag has like evolved so much, I feel like because like a lot of people's like exposure to drag is through Drag Race, I think a lot of people have a hard time seeing like drag outside of like that format. You'll see like a lot of people like, "Oh, I need my drag performers, you know, to be able to like dance or like do these tricks." Or some people are like, "Oh, I want my drag queens to be like extremely funny." To me, what makes a great show is a variety of like different talents like coming together. So if I go to a drag show, I want to see like, you know, one queen who's like an amazing dancer that turns and do tricks. I want to see like a look queen come out in like a really cool look that I would have like never thought of on my own, and maybe, you know, lip sync the house down to like a beautiful ballad. And then I want to see like a funny queen come out and, you know, just make me laugh. I want to see like a messy queen come out and just give me like dirty grungy drag. Like I want to see a little bit of everything. I just don't want to see just one thing like the entire time, and I feel like that makes for a very boring show. Moving on. Welcome to another episode of One for the Table. John I met during Motor City Pride in 2016. It was actually one of like the first gigs I did after I was on Drag Race. And I was just like chilling in the dressing room, and John Kong just like stumbled in drunk with his friend. And I'm like, "Who is this Asian guy and why is he in here?" I'm like, "Are you gay and single?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, get out of here." And then the tour organizer was like, "Do you want me to take you out for dinner tonight, or do you want me to get like a private chef to cook you a dinner?" And I'm like, "Private chef to cook me a dinner?" I'm like, "Yes, that sounds amazing." And turns out that chef was John. And then his friend drove his drunk ass to Whole Foods, and he just bought like a lot of random ingredients and then just like started cooking. And I came over later that night and ate all the food that he made, and it was amazing. And then we became friends since that day. And then whenever we get together, we're always talking about food. And then we realized like a lot of people just like love to listen to us talk about food. So I was like, well, why don't we do a podcast? Put our talks on a global level. And yeah, that's how our podcast happened. Just like how we travel, we don't like plan things like too crazy. It's more like two friends, you know, sitting at a table, you know, catching up on our lives, discussing food. I've always been I hate the term foodie, but I've always been like a foodie my entire life because I'm very passionate about food. And then during pandemic, I was like, well, I'm not getting in a drag every day. Why don't I just make like random food content? So it just kind of like started as a hobby. And I'm not trying to like take it too seriously because I don't want it to turn into work. I want to be so rich to a point where I don't know how to use ATM. Or if someone asks me like, how much does like a bag of potato chips cost? I have no idea. Like I want to be out of touch rich. But a realistic answer is I want to have like a nice 2-bedroom home, maybe a pool, and a big yard for my puppy to run around. You know, it's just small things in life, you know. But even that is like not possible in LA right now because of the housing prices and the interest rates. Whew. Thank you, them. I had so much fun with you. This has been Becoming Kimchi.